Travis Ellington didn't expect to get punched in the face before 9 a.m. But with a 6-year-old daughter to raise and 2 part-time jobs barely covering rent, he'd learned the universe didn't care much for timing. "Back off," he shouted, stepping between the man and the woman who just cried out. They were in the middle of a narrow sidewalk near Midtown, and the guy had already yanked the woman's purse halfway off her shoulder. Travis didn't think he just reacted. One shove, a messy scuffle, and a sharp jab to his jaw later, the mugger took off down the street, empty-handed. "Are you okay?" Travis asked, breathless, turning to the woman. She stood frozen, her dark coat torn at the sleeve, auburn hair tousled around her face. Her wide brown eyes locked on his. "I think so," she said, voice shaky. You just jumped in like that." Travis touched the swelling on his jaw, wincing. "Yeah, well, couldn't let him get away with it." She blinked, then laughed. It was soft and surprised, like she hadn't heard herself laugh in a while. "You're bleeding." "It's fine," he glanced at his scraped knuckles. "I've had worse." "I'm Olivia Zanders," she said, stepping closer. "Thank you for what you did. I don't even know you." He offered a hand. Travis Ellington, and you don't have to know someone to protect them." She stared at his hand for a second before shaking it. Her grip was firm, warm. "Still, I owe you. At least let me buy you a coffee." Travis hesitated. He was supposed to pick up his daughter, Chloe, from school in 2 hours and still had to deliver groceries for his second job. But his stomach growled, and the bruising on his face was already turning a nasty purple. "You know what? Sure, I could use the caffeine." She led him to a quiet cafe a few blocks away, modern and sleek with soft jazz playing overhead. Travis felt out of place immediately. The chairs looked more expensive than his entire living room. "So," Olivia said, sliding a latte across the table to him, "do you make a habit of rescuing women from muggers?" He grinned, "Only on Tuesdays." She smiled again, an actual, real smile, this time, and Travis found himself watching her a little too long. "You live around here?" she asked. "Queens, you." "Upper East Side." He raised an eyebrow. "Wow, fancy." She tilted her head. "It's convenient for work." "What do you do?" She hesitated for a beat too long. "Real estate," she said vaguely. He nodded, not pressing. "Well, thanks for the coffee, Olivia, but it should get going. My daughter's got soccer practice later, and if I'm late, she'll stage a full revolution." "You have a daughter?" she asked, surprised. "Chloe, 6, fierce negotiator. She convinced me to buy 2 boxes of cookies last night just by promising to eat broccoli." Olivia laughed again. "She sounds like a force." "She is." He stood to leave, and she reached into her bag. "Wait, can I give you something?" "No, really, you don't have to." She pulled out a sleek white business card and handed it to him. "Just in case you ever need anything, or maybe if you want to have coffee again, without the mugger." Travis looked at the card. Olivia Zanders, CEO, Zanders Development Group. His eyes widened. "You're a CEO." She shrugged. "You didn't ask." He gave a low whistle. "So that's why your coat probably costs more than my rent." She laughed, but there was a flicker of something else in her eyes. Tiredness, maybe. "It's just a title." "No, it's impressive. I mean it." Their eyes met again, and something passed between them, quick, electric, but undeniable. "I should go," he said, pocketing the card. "Right, Chloe's revolution." He grinned. "Thanks again for the coffee, and I'm glad you're okay." "Thanks to you," she said. He gave her a little wave and left the cafe, stepping back into the cold morning air. As he walked toward the subway, Travis kept thinking about her, about the way she'd looked at him, the way she'd smiled. She was beautiful, clearly way out of his league, and probably had 100 people waiting on her at all times. But she gave him her card. And for the first time in a long time, Travis felt something he hadn't in years. Hope. 2 days later, Olivia was still thinking about him. She sat in a meeting overlooking the skyline, half listening to her CFO drone on about numbers she already knew. But her mind flicked back to a man with bruised knuckles, protective instincts, and a crooked grin. She couldn't get him out of her head. After the meeting, she stepped into her office and picked up her phone. "Get me everything on Travis Ellington," she told her assistant, quietly. She didn't know what this was. Curiosity, maybe. Gratitude. But she hadn't felt this drawn to someone in years, and certainly not to someone who didn't care about her title or her bank account. And that made it even harder to forget him. Travis stood outside the elementary school gates, tapping the toe of his sneaker against the pavement as parents filed in and out with their kids. Chloe burst through the doors, ponytail bouncing, a paper crown slipping sideways on her head. "Daddy," she shouted, barreling into him. He laughed, lifting her up. "What's this? Did you become royalty while I was out delivering groceries?" She held the crown with both hands. "We did a play. It was Queen Moonbeam. Miss Carter said I was very dramatic." "Now that I believe." She giggled against his neck, and he hugged her tighter, momentarily forgetting the soreness still lingering along his jaw. Across the street, a black SUV idled with its windows rolled up. Olivia sat in the back seat, sunglasses in place, watching the moment unfold. She hadn't meant to come. She told herself she was just passing through the neighborhood on her way to a site visit. But she hadn't been able to stop thinking about him, and when her assistant handed her the discreet background file earlier, she hadn't hesitated. Single father, works 2 jobs, no criminal record, attended community college briefly before dropping out, lived in a walk-up in Astoria, no mention of a partner or ex-wife. She should have let it go. Instead, she rolled down the window. "Mr. Ellington." Travis turned, startled. Chloe clung to his jacket, squinting at the woman stepping out of the SUV in pointed heels and a long caramel coat that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover. "Olivia." He set Chloe down gently. "What are you doing here?" She approached slowly. "I was nearby. I thought maybe you'd let me take you 2 out for dinner, a thank you for the other morning." He blinked. "You tracked me to Chloe's school." She hesitated. "I asked around. I hope that's not too forward." He glanced down at Chloe, who was now staring at Olivia with the cautious curiosity of a child who'd only ever seen adults like her on TV. "You want to take us to dinner?" "If you're free." He rubbed the back of his neck. "We were just going to heat up leftover mac and cheese." "I know a place," she said. "Kid-friendly, good dessert." Chloe tugged on his sleeve. "Can we go, please?" He looked between Olivia and his daughter, then sighed. "All right, but fair warning, she judges desserts like a food critic." The restaurant Olivia brought them to was tucked on the edge of the park, all warm wood and soft lighting, with crayons and coloring sheets brought over without being asked. Travis didn't touch the menu. For the first 5 minutes, he was too busy watching Chloe and Olivia talk about the play, the moon, and why broccoli should be banished from all kitchens. "She's sharp," Olivia said as Chloe wandered off to look at the dessert display. "Too sharp. I think she's plotting my downfall." Olivia leaned forward. "You're good with her." He shrugged. "I try." "No, I mean it. That's not easy to find, especially when you're doing it alone." He studied her expression. "You read up on me, didn't you?" "Yes." "And I wanted to know more about the man who stepped into a fight with zero hesitation and then walked away like it was nothing." He folded his arms. You're not used to being told no, are you? Her eyes didn't flinch. I'm used to people hiding things, pretending you didn't. Maybe I didn't have time to. Or maybe that's just who you are. Chloe ran back to the table, face flushed. They have lava cake. Travis laughed. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds messy. It's chocolate and hot and it explodes, she said with glee. Olivia raised a brow. Then we're definitely ordering it. Later, when Chloe had chocolate on her cheek and Travis was helping her into her jacket, Olivia stepped aside to take a call. The moment her voice dropped into that controlled, careful tone, Travis saw it again, the shift. The version of her that lived in penthouses and boardrooms. You're different with her, he said when she returned. She reminds me who I used to be. He paused. What happened? She didn't answer right away. People started expecting things. I started delivering them. Somewhere along the way, I forgot how to just enjoy a moment. He nodded slowly. You should come to Chloe's next soccer game. Her eyes widened. That's unexpected. He shrugged. So was lava cake. She smiled, and for the first time, it didn't feel polished or calculated. I'd like that. Travis looked down at his daughter, now half asleep against his side. She already likes you. And you. He hesitated, then met her gaze. I'm still deciding. Her laugh was quiet but real. Fair enough. Outside, the night air was crisp. Olivia opened the SUV door, then paused. Text me the game details. I'll bring orange slices. He arched a brow. You even know what those are. I've seen movies. He watched her drive away, the taillights disappearing down the street. Chloe stirred and mumbled something about chocolate dreams. Travis carried her the rest of the way home, her weight warm against his chest, wondering what the hell he was getting himself into and why. For the first time in years, it didn't feel like a mistake. Travis didn't expect Olivia to show up at the soccer field wearing sneakers and a ponytail, but there she was 2 weeks later, standing on the sideline with a bag of sliced oranges and a quiet confidence that didn't broadcast her wealth for once. She waved when she spotted him, and Travis, already tying Chloe's cleats, gave a nod that was more surprised than casual. You came, he said when she reached him. I said I would, she replied, handing over the snack bag. Even peeled them myself. He blinked. You peeled oranges. Let's just say there were YouTube tutorials involved. Chloe ran over, tugging on Olivia's sleeve. You get to watch me score. I'm the fastest, even faster than Marcus. I don't doubt it, Olivia said, crouching down to meet her at eye level. I brought a whistle, but I was told parents aren't allowed to use it. Travis raised an eyebrow. You brought a whistle. Olivia pulled it from her coat pocket, in case things got competitive. He laughed, the sound catching him off guard. You're something else, Zanders. She shrugged. You've known that since the mugger. The game kicked off and Olivia stayed the entire time, clapping and cheering with the other parents, never once checking her phone. Afterward, Chloe insisted they celebrate her 3 goals with ice cream, and Travis reluctantly agreed, though he noticed the way Olivia didn't hesitate to pay for all 3 cones before he could open his wallet. You didn't have to do that, he said later, as they walked toward the subway station. I wanted to. She's going to expect premium sprinkles now. I'll take full responsibility for the inflation of her dessert standards. He glanced at her sidelong. You're not what I expected. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. What did you expect? Honestly, I figured you'd vanish after that coffee. Maybe send a thank you card with some corporate logo on it. You didn't think I'd show up with oranges. Not in 100 years. They paused at the steps down to the train. Chloe ran her fingers along the metal railing, humming something from a commercial. You want to come by our place? Travis asked suddenly. It's not much, but Chloe's got this Lego tower that's become a neighborhood monument, and she's dying to show it off. Olivia's eyes softened. I'd love to. The apartment was small, but clean. Lived in, with school drawings taped to the fridge and a mismatched couch that had seen better decades. Olivia sat carefully, as if afraid to break something, while Chloe dragged out the Lego structure like she was presenting a museum artifact. This is the Tower of Moonland, Chloe explained. It took 6 days and 2 tantrums. It's magnificent, Olivia said, crouching down for a better look. Is it earthquake-proof? I shook it and only the top fell off. A strong foundation, Olivia said with a nod. You're already ahead of most architects. Travis leaned against the kitchen counter, watching the two of them. He hadn't seen Chloe this animated with anyone outside of her school friends, and Olivia, she didn't seem like she was humoring her. She listened, asked questions, even offered to help rebuild the spire. You want tea? He asked, trying to distract himself from the sudden tightness in his chest. I'd love some. He busied himself with the kettle, hands moving on autopilot. He wasn't used to this. To someone like her fitting so easily into his world without making it feel small. He kept expecting her to glance around at the peeling paint or the scuffed floor and make some polite excuse to leave. But she didn't. Instead, she sat cross-legged on the living room rug, helping Chloe sort through bricks like it was the most natural thing in the world. Later, after Chloe had gone to bed exhausted and sticky, with strawberry ice cream, Travis walked Olivia to the door. You really didn't have to stay that long, he said. I wanted to. You're full of surprises. She looked up at him, face unreadable. So are you. He hesitated, then leaned closer, just enough to make the air shift between them. You ever think this is crazy? All the time. And yet, here we are. She nodded once, here we are. He didn't kiss her, not yet, but the electricity between them was undeniable, coiled tight in the space that remained. Good night, Travis. Night, Olivia. She walked down the hallway, heels clicking softly against the worn tile. Travis shut the door behind her and leaned his back against it, letting out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He didn't know what this was turning into. But it was real. And for the first time in a very long time, that didn't terrify him. Travis stood at the edge of the ballroom, feeling like someone had handed him a tuxedo and dared him to blend into a Monet painting. The chandeliers glittered above his head like glass constellations, casting a golden sheen over the crowd of polished executives and airbrushed models. He shifted his weight, tugging at his collar. The tux was tailored. He hadn't asked for that, but Olivia had insisted, and when he'd opened the box delivered to his apartment that morning, he hadn't had it. He spotted her the moment she emerged through the crowd. She wore midnight blue, all clean lines and elegance, with her hair swept up in a way that made her look like she belonged on the cover of a European fashion magazine. But when her eyes landed on him, everything else in the room dropped away. You came, she said, the corner of her mouth lifting. You sent a driver, he said, glancing around, and a tux, and a note that said, and I quote, try not to bolt. Seemed prudent. He exhaled a laugh, nodding toward the sea of black-tie guests. So what exactly is this? Annual Zanders Foundation Gala. We raise money, shake hands, and pretend we're not all mildly exhausted. And you brought me why? Because I want you here, her voice softened. Because this part of my life doesn't mean much if I can't share it. Travis looked at her, really looked. You sure, I'm not exactly crowd favorite material. She reached for his hand. You're mine. The words hit harder than he expected, not because they were romantic, but because they were certain. and certainty wasn't something Travis had been offered many times in his life. Before he could respond, a man with silver temples and a voice like polished steel approached. "Olivia," he said, kissing her cheek, "this must be the mystery guest." "Richard, this is Travis Ellington," she said evenly. "Travis, this is Richard Monroe, our largest investor." Travis extended his hand, feeling the weight of the moment. "Nice to meet you." Richard took it, examining him with a gaze that had probably dismantled weaker men in boardrooms. "So, you're the one who's been distracting her." "Guilty," Travis replied, "but only during off hours." Richard gave a short laugh, then turned to Olivia. "You're glowing, about time." As he walked away, Olivia leaned in. "He's not as terrifying as he looks." "He's exactly as terrifying as he looks." She laughed, and for a moment, the tension in his chest loosened. But it returned the moment she was pulled away to speak with another donor, then another. Travis nursed a drink near the edge of the room, watching her move through the world she'd clearly mastered. She looked poised, graceful, confident. And completely out of reach. Feeling out of place, a voice asked beside him. He turned to find a woman in a sleek black gown, her expression sympathetic. "Is it that obvious?" She smiled. "I used to date someone like her. The language is different here. It's all coded, calculated. You either learn it or you don't." "Not really my forte." She raised her glass. "Then maybe you're better off. Good luck." As she walked away, Travis's grip on his glass tightened. He wasn't jealous. He was realistic. Olivia had brought him here as a gesture, yes, but that didn't mean he belonged. He set the glass down and made his way toward the corridor, away from the music and laughter. He needed air, space, something that didn't reek of money and expectation. "Leaving." He turned. Olivia stood there, eyes searching his face. "I didn't mean to vanish," he said. "Just this isn't me. And I don't want to be the guy you feel obligated to drag through your world." Her expression changed, not angry, not hurt, but something sharper, sadder. "I didn't bring you here because I felt obligated," she said. "I brought you because I wanted you to see all of me, not just the girl who eats lava cake and plays with Legos." He leaned against the wall. "Yeah, but this version, she's got 100 people watching her every move. I'm just a guy trying to keep a roof over my daughter's head." "And you think that makes you less?" "I think it makes me temporary." Olivia stepped closer. "Travis, I've spent years in rooms like this, with people who smile with their mouths and nothing else. And not once, not ever, have I met someone who made me feel more seen than you do." He looked at her, eyes clouded. "Then why does it feel like I'm waiting for you to realize I don't belong?" "Because you're scared," she said gently. "So am I, but I'm not walking away just because something is difficult. I've done that before. I won't do it again." He closed his eyes, the words settling somewhere deep. "You're not afraid of what people will think." "I'm afraid of waking up one day and realizing I let the one real thing in my life slip away because I was too focused on everyone else." He opened his eyes and met hers. "I don't want Chloe getting attached if this is just a phase." "It's not." There was no hesitation in her voice, no glamour, just truth. "Then come over tomorrow," he said quietly. "We'll cook. Chloe's got this new obsession with pancakes shaped like animals." "I'm in." "And no driver." She smiled. "Deal." He leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't rushed or showy. It was steady, certain, like something unfolding exactly the way it should. Later, as they returned to the ballroom, Travis no longer noticed the stares. Olivia's hand stayed in his, and for the first time, he wasn't just part of her world. He was hers. And she was his. Rain tapped steadily against the windows of Travis's apartment. the scent of cinnamon and warm batter curling through the air. Chloe stood on a chair at the counter, her tongue poking out in concentration as she tried to shape pancake batter into something resembling a cat. "That's a tail, right?" Travis asked, peering over her shoulder. "It's a sword," Chloe declared. "Princess cats are warriors." "She's got a point," Olivia said, flipping a golden pancake onto the plate beside her. She traded her usual sleek wardrobe for leggings and an oversized sweatshirt with a faded band logo on it, her hair pulled into a messy bun. It was the most relaxed Travis had ever seen her, and somehow the most beautiful. He leaned against the counter, watching her. "You sure you don't want me to take over? You've already won over the pancake gods." Olivia gave him a look. "You're just trying to get out of cooking." "Absolutely." Chloe reached for the blueberries, scattering them across the plate in a pattern she claimed was a map to the land of Pancakea. Olivia set down the spatula and crouched next to her. "Should we build a palace next?" she asked. Chloe's eyes lit up, "With chocolate chip walls." Travis turned away, smiling to himself. He'd never imagined this. A lazy Saturday morning that felt like it belonged in someone else's life. Laughter, warmth, the smell of breakfast, and someone who didn't just show up, but stayed. Once breakfast was cleared, and Chloe had been thoroughly convinced to change out of syrup-stained pajamas, she curled up on the couch with a picture book. Olivia joined Travis in the kitchen, drying her hands on a towel. "She's incredible," Olivia said quietly. "You've raised her well." "I've done my best," he said. "Some days it doesn't feel like enough." "It is," she said. "I see it. She's safe, happy, and completely fearless. That comes from you." He turned toward her, voice low. "I didn't think I'd ever let someone in again, not like this, not with her." "I know," she said, stepping closer, "and I don't take that for granted." Travis reached out, brushing a thumb along her cheek. "You fit here. Not because you're trying, but because you're real, even when you're surrounded by people who pretend." Olivia's eyes softened. "I've spent years building walls I didn't even realize were there, but with you, it's like they're not needed." He leaned in and kissed her, slow and steady, the kind that deepened over time. When he pulled back, he rested his forehead against hers. "I love you," he whispered. "I didn't expect to, didn't plan on it, but I do." Her eyes shimmered. "I love you too, more than I thought was possible." They stood there for a moment, wrapped in the quiet certainty of it. Then Chloe's voice broke through. "Are you gonna kiss again? Because I'm not looking." Travis laughed, pulling Olivia closer. "We'll wait till you're asleep." Chloe made a dramatic groan and buried her face in the couch. Later that evening, after they'd built a blanket fort and watched Chloe fall asleep inside it with a flashlight still glowing beside her, Travis carried her gently to her room and tucked her in. When he returned, Olivia was sitting on the edge of the bed, her expression thoughtful. "I've been thinking about something," she said. "That sounds ominous." She gave him a look. "It's not, it's important." He sat beside her, waiting. "I have a place in Montauk," she said. "It's quiet, near the beach. I haven't been in over a year because it always felt like a waste to go alone." He studied her closely. "Are you saying you want us to go?" "I'm saying I want it to be our place. Weekends, holidays, whenever. A space that's just ours. No boardrooms, no headlines, just us." Travis exhaled slowly. "That sounds like a dream." "It doesn't have to be one." He reached for her hand. "There's something else you should know." She turned to face him fully. "I've been offered a manager position at the delivery company. More hours, better pay, health coverage for both of us. Was going to turn it down because didn't want to leave Chloe with a sitter more often, but..." He glanced toward the hallway, voice tight with emotion. "If we're really building something here, I want to be able to contribute, to hold my own." Olivia squeezed his hand. "We're building it together. Whatever that looks like, I want it with you. The next morning, Travis accepted the job. Olivia rearranged her schedule to work remotely on Fridays. Chloe, upon learning they'd have their own beach house, declared herself queen of sandcastles and demanded a seashell crown. Over the next few months, the rhythm of their lives shifted, not in a grand, cinematic way, but in quiet, meaningful moments. Olivia took Chloe to her first ballet class and stayed through every pirouette gone sideways. Travis taught Olivia how to bike through Central Park without crashing into tourists. They hosted movie nights with popcorn battles and built snowmen that never looked quite right. They fought sometimes, about work, about time, about what color to paint the spare bedroom. But they always came back to each other, always chose to fight for the same side. On a spring afternoon, as they stood on the porch of the Montauk house, watching Chloe chase gulls across the sand, Travis slipped his arm around Olivia's waist. "You ever think about forever?" he asked. She smiled up at him. "Every day." He pulled a small box from his pocket, nothing flashy, just simple, honest, and exactly right. She opened it and gasped softly. "You're not supposed to cry," he teased. "I didn't think you'd ask today." "I didn't think I'd ever ask anyone," he said, "but here we are." "Yes," she said, before he could even finish the question. 1,000 times yes. They kissed as the waves rolled in, Chloe's laughter echoing in the background, the breeze tangling through their hair. Together, they built a life that didn't need to be perfect, only real, only theirs. And they never looked back.